Brother.
Oh,
I
hi,
don't know how
hello.
Macho
We're
Man
here.
did that.
Macho Man is here in the house.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If you guys haven't noticed, it's a special edition of Indy by Night where we get to be us for the first time in like 69 episodes.
Nice.
It's 70. You missed it. Sorry.
Whatever, man. I'm saying it now. I was dead when it happened.
Giggity.
Nice. But we're going to go around the room, introduce who are not playing this evening, and we'll go ahead and start with our Q&A, and we'll go ahead and start with Carter.
Hi, I'm Warren, and I'm not playing Carter tonight, and would rather not be reading a book. Super excited to find out all the secrets.
Next up, we have Dimitri.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'm not playing Dimitri. Sorry, I was
Got
supposed
them.
to say I'm playing Dimitri. And yeah, I'm excited to get answers to this whole list of questions I have. So
I'm so nervous. I have to be honest.
Where's your accent go, bro?
Exactly. I thought that was just Justin.
I'm happy. I will admit my next character. I have no intention of accents.
It's the best.
However, I could be talked into doing a French accent if necessary.
Next up, we have Isaiah.
Hi, I'm Rob, and tonight I'm not playing Isaiah. And I love accents. I think that doing a character voice is always my first choice, and it's when I get tired of it that it gets hard.
That's fair. And last but not least, we have some old rusty bones.
Is that me? I'm
yeah,
sorry, I just
that's you.
unmuted.
Yeah, that's you.
Oh, hi.
You're the rusty bones.
Dusty old bones full of green dust. Hi, I'm the artist formerly known as Michael and also Claudius. I'm Ian. It's cool to be here. First time caller, long time listener. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad you were able to clear your schedule to join us this evening. Booking has been a pain.
Oh, it definitely has been, especially when I've been dead for the last however long this is.
Just an episode.
Yeah.
Feels like longer.
Yeah, it really has. And we will have Eva Hill shortly, but she's wrangling some tiny kindred, and we all know how that goes.
Classic.
But I guess we'll go ahead, let everyone know that we are going to be doing Q&A for this evening. So if you have any questions about the entire Chronicle, I have all of my notes up, and we will go ahead and answer the best I can. We'll be taking members from cast as well as from the audience. So be patient. If you ask a question, I will get around to it. Promise. And we'll go ahead and go around the table again until someone just doesn't have a question, and we could just, just be very laid back Q&A. We're just going to hang out and chat about it. So if you guys have questions or other things pop up and because of other questions, let's do it. So we'll go ahead and start with Warren first, because we like to go around this table in a circular motion in my head.
We do.
This is how the group Discord is just how I sort of imagine our table being all the time. So we'll go ahead and start with you. Do you have any questions you would like to have answered?
Yeah, I'll start with a softball.
Okay.
What percentage of the final story, as it turned out, did you think might be, like, how close is this to your original plan?
That went out the window in like episode 3 or 4. And then we sort of overall, I assumed that you guys would come to Primogen level by the end of it. Whether or not it was going to be the Primogen of Indianapolis, I didn't have a plan for exactly. But I did expect you guys to be in Primogen of some capacity. So I guess you guys didn't hit that goal, except for like Eva, who was a Baron at the end of it. So sort of. I will say, let me rephrase. according to the base original, none, because I would never expect this game to become an Anarch game. I was 100% expecting it to be a 100% through and through cam game, but I also never would have expected half my table would be cam and half of it would be Anarch as well. So double negative on that for you. I hope that answers a little of your question.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing that I knew I could count on was like the Tremere saying a cam Tremere, and that was really all I had going for me after like episode 3.
There were a couple of times it came close.
Yeah, that's almost the time I threw the whole script away. I was like, if this can't be true, nothing can be true.
Love
it. Justin, what do you got?
So this is kind of playing a little bit off of what Warren just asked. I would say when we blew up the rant and rave, one, what was going through your mind? And then follow up, how much did that alter your plans for the campaign? For like what you had kind of roughly sketched out, like how much did that drastically change things?
It changed a lot because there's a lot of people that you guys would have had to butt heads with. And that's also why the territory grab for Terre Haute was so easy. Is because you guys knocked out roughly about 3 barons in Terre Haute with that bombing. And they just hadn't had the chance to fully re-grab their territory before the cam was able to put a foot down and put an extra little space out there for it. So it completely changed a lot that you would have guys had to deal with to get your territory. Instead of where it felt like it was able to just be given to you. Because it sort of was, because you guys did, even though it wasn't what Prince wanted, you guys did him a rather large favor in reducing the amount of anarchs significantly. So I think we calculated it one night. It was like roughly like a fifth of the injured population went up in smoke that night. So it took out quite a bit of like kindred overall in that area. And even though it was an Avon, it was a large rant and rave where a lot of people from different places came to. So I got to change a lot of more of the anarch politics, what I had planned. And that kept me up for way too many hours. So thanks for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We'll go to Rob. I know you are short term here, but any questions, comments, concerns you may have for your duration?
Sure. Well, I'm actually going to go back to before then and
like it.
You know, obviously the rant and rave and the corresponding masquerade breaching were formative for the Chronicle. But I wonder if at any point going through that, if you were going, they're breaking the masquerade, they're bombing all my kindred, someone's just going to come along and dust these clowns, and thought to yourself, well, that's the end of the Chronicle. Maybe we should start thinking about the next one.
It's funny you say that, because behind the scenes, about 3 weeks prior to the masquerade breach, where we forgot for a few moments that we were playing Vampire the Masquerade, I had a conversation with the cast and was like, look, you guys are lining up perfectly. Like, they're playing the politics. You guys are lining up to become Camarilla Primogen. Like, you guys, they almost had their whole court inside of Terre Haute. I said, this is where you're lining up to go to. Like, you just have to more or less get the chess pieces across the board to get there. So I was like, get ready, like, you know, in a couple episodes, we're going to start wrapping up. So I started thinking about where we want to go for the next Chronicle. Or if we want to do Vampire again, if we want to do whatever we want to do. And then they decided to breach the masquerade. And I thought right then and there, whenever they sort of split and half of them faked their death, I was like, man, this would also be a really good time. Just sort of cut it. But I also saw there was a lot of story threads, especially like that meant a lot to the characters as well as to the players that were not wrapped up yet. One that I definitely had in mind that really kept this Chronicle going was Eva's revenge arc on a huge portion of the Camarilla, specifically Nessa. that really fueled the drive for it, and Dimitri got buy-in because of that as well. So it sort of began to wrap in to wrapping up that chronicle. Michael at that point was still blood bonded. So there was a lot of different interesting things that could have happened. So realistically, it was just the fact that I would have felt bad for cheapening out a lot of the story that we put together to go up in flames like that and then never get to hear the rest of the story. Where we got to see really cool points of that. Speak of the devil, and really cool points of seeing the coming back surprise portion in the last, I don't know, 20 episodes we got out of that. So yeah, it was definitely a moment where I thought about it heavily, and you guys almost completed the campaign how I had originally imagined it. And we just forgot for a single session what game we were playing, and it sort of changed the entire story. And I was like, this is sort of cool. Because I feel like a lot of Let's Plays and stuff, you get a Cam story or you get an Anarch story, but I feel very rarely do you get a transition story from Cam to Anarch, where you had what we had, where it's sort of split half and half, and it was a huge divider for the quote unquote group. So I hope that answered your question. Everyone in chat, please welcome Eva Hill. Welcome on in. Eva, who are you going to be playing this evening?
Me, myself, and I.
There we go. Eva, do you have any questions that you would like to have answered based off the entire chronicle?
And yes, he has been exclusively referring to us as character names, I think, because he's not ready to let us go yet.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I'm ready to let go yet.
There we go. That means I did something somewhat right.
I'm curious to know, Matthew having those documents. What were they, and would it have changed any part of our beloved club that we had?
The documents were a list of all known kindred in the area, and quite a few of their haven/safe houses. So it could have been very interesting if the Coterie could have got their hands on, because they could have definitely forced their hand on a lot of different issues that they were seeing with the Camarilla overall before the destruction of half the Coterie. And one of those people that they had was actually Nessa's haven. So I could have absolutely seen a part of the story where Dimitri and Eva just go and just kill Nessa in her haven. So yeah, I think it absolutely could have changed, one, how the story ended, because you guys could have just been probably Primogen of Indianapolis with the amount of information that you would have had available. So yeah, that's a lot of sized information that also they lost when Michael ran off with it. Matthew, not Michael. Sorry.
I was like, when did I run off with a bunch of information?
You don't remember that? That's so weird.
It does sound like them.
Yeah.
Shut up.
They had it until they forgot they had it because they were, blood bonded.
Shut up. It's a thing that happens sometimes.
Oh, yeah, we know. Let's go ahead and go to you, Michael.
Hi. So like I said, long-time listener, first-time caller. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
I have a couple, these have all been very good questions for Bruce, and I feel super outclassed by my questions and rather selfish with my questions, because I read The Room my first episode in as Michael, and I want to know if I had a valid read, because that kind of super influenced the way that I played Michael moving forward. So my question is just kind of to the folks that were around. Sorry, Rob. Not trying to exclude you there. First impression of Michael. I know how I thought y'all's first impression of Michael was, but I want to know if I was right.
As a storyteller, that first impression, I thought you were dying on the spot. I gotta be honest. Like, I thought we had this cool
I
kindred
blame
rolling in,
Benny.
and I 100% thought that the two of you were both gonna be just dusted before the scene was over.
I 100% blame Benny for that one.
We'll go ahead and start with Warren.
Benny pushed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Benny definitely pushed it. I sort of remember it as like, oh look, this person who's working for this person we really don't trust pops up, and they're like, oh, it's cool. I'm really just all about the money. I'm totally mercenary. And Carter's like, what? The money? What the hell are you talking? Like the money? What do you need money for?
Drugs.
I just remember Carter being very confused by the mercenary style.
Justin.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I really had to do, and if I'm being completely honest, a fuck ton of metagaming to not just because
Nah,
if I had just been playing my character, bro, yeah, Benny would have been dead. And the fact
Benny
that
for
Michael was
sure would
with
have been
him,
dead.
he very likely would have went down with him just because.
that's
And it had
totally
nothing to
valid.
do with his personality. It was just the way they introduced themselves to us. It was very not Michael per se, but Benny was very aggressive, and his whole like shtick was just kind of too much.
Yes.
And it was really close. Like I was on the verge of like flipping a coin and being like, okay, I've got this fucking AR-15 under the fucking couch over here. It's got phosphorus rounds. And just pay and spray, unload the magazine, and we'll just call it good. We'll sweep up the dust and throw it in the garbage can. No harm, no foul.
Valid.
But I mean, I think as kind of time went on, we saw the kind of bond that developed between Dimitri and Michael. And I think that's because they came from similar backgrounds, valued similar things, just out to have a good time.
Oh, 100%. Hell yes. I love that.
And Hannah, what was your impressions of Michael on?
I think right off the bat, Eva could tell Dimitri was gonna just kill these two. And Eva definitely knew it was more the Benny part of it as opposed to the Michael part of it. And I think I just kind of felt sorry for Michael at first, just because I was like, you're getting like bombarded by Dimitri because he's annoyed at Benny, and that also included you with it. And so I just remember like the right away when I realized like, oh wow, this is gonna turn really bad. I think we ended up going to the pyramid together,
Yes.
like leaving the bookstore. So I think it was more out of desperation of like, I feel bad for you, and we just need to get the hell out of here. So
Please don't die in my bookstore.
yes.
That's bad luck for business.
I just moved here.
And
Could
we
you
already
not die?
exactly. I was gonna say we just had a spot and then we lost it, so I was like, let's not start all over. So
Good question.
Yeah.
Good
I love it.
question.
I love it so much.
Uh,
That's honestly pretty spot on to the way it felt walking into it. And again, that's obviously no hate to it. It was a precarious situation to show up in. But on the Michael side of things, it was like, good lord. We have a dude who I would try to kill me if I walked in like this. We have a guy who doesn't understand what the hell a $5 bill is and why it's important. And somebody who's maybe said 2 words this entire time. What the hell did I walk into?
yeah,
Like,
seems pretty on point.
that's a good way if I had voiced that to just be dead.
Yeah, very much so. We'll go ahead and start with Warren.
All right. So I will ask a more personal one. What was the deal with Bart? Like, what was his backstory? Was he a friend? Was he an enemy? Frenemy? Like, what was going on with Bart?
Bart, the NPC that I didn't intend to be as close to this chronicle as he was. He was honestly supposed to just be in your one shot level, or not one shot, but like your session 0, and then just be forgotten about. But because you brought his name to the prince, um, and because it was on the border and a lot of things were sort of happening at this time, like Anarch were still full power, he was like, I'm still in need of a sheriff. And so he saw him as a sheriff and grabbed him and picked him up. And then I think he really just felt, as much as like most of the cast didn't like Bart really liked you guys because he knew that you guys were a shit show and he also is a shit show. So the fact that like he had someone to like bond with on that level, and then once he realized the only person that actively liked Bart was Carter, that's why he sort of like magnetized onto you in that capacity. But no, Bart was 100%. Like it's supposed to be like an NPC that was left off in that gas station, never used again. But you decided to bring him up into power, which completely changed what I had planned for that character. So,
And he was behind the boopening, right?
no, he was not behind the boopening.
Who was behind the opening? We all need to know.
That was actually Prince Costel. But Benny was using some powers on the prince to make him unstable. I can't remember the power exactly. Hold on, I have to look it up because now it's going to bug me.
Benny or Sheldon?
Sheldon, excuse me, not Benny. Sheldon was using hold on, it's almost there now. Books. Of course, I should have had these books pulled up. I'm so sorry. It's very unprofessional.
How dare you? It can't work like this.
You're right. When you're right, you're right.
And usually I am.
Well,
Hey now.
Dementation was using dementation power, where it puts a kindred into like a episode, and that was part of a plan worked with Nessa to try to have him permanently unfit to be prince, so she could take his spot. So that was just him having a mental break and not realizing who or what he was talking to. And so he would just try to play it off as best he can, but occasionally he just had to boot people. And by people, I mean Carter specifically.
It felt very targeted.
It was very targeted towards you. Maybe he also felt bad because he's like, hey, I need you here to advise. And then went on a non-advisory trip for like 2 years of your own life.
Yes, that was not Carter's forte, but that's okay. It worked out.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't not work out, you know?
Didn't really work out for Costel.
Yeah. But, so yeah, that is the boopening. That question I knew was coming up, so I appreciate it. Justin.
So, given the amount of resources and effort that needed to be expended in order to make it happen, why was Eva targeted several years before she had any status or influence within the cam to create a doppelganger of her, to take over her life? Like, what was the end game? What was the thought process there?
She was one of the few individuals that were new enough to the cam, where Nessa wanted to experiment with a group of younger kindred and see if a doppelganger could replace them to better mask their death. So that way, like, because there's the mask background or quality. And she was more or less trying to make it easier. So like, no, he's like, you don't have to worry about buying a mask if you have a doppelganger that is you. And so she was actually one of 8 individuals who had their whole lives just replaced behind the scenes, where Nessa was working with the Zemitsi clan on trying to perfect it the best that they could, and hopes to turn around and sell it as a masking option.
So if that's the case, who tipped us off and who killed Jane? And why?
It was a way to keep Eva under control, because Nessa realized that Eva was coming out of her shell a little bit more, based off the breakdowns that the different people of the Primogen had the conversations with, based off of calls you guys had made to different members of the Primogen, and sort of like conversations overall. And rumors of, street fights that happened, where Eva was becoming more and more of a threat. And so Jane was sort of the chain that kept Eva from becoming what she became. And honestly, they expected Eva to turn Jane. They weren't expecting Eva to just let Jane die. And thinking that her humanity would get the best of her because she was still so young, that she wouldn't make the right move and like letting her die. Is what she just wasn't expecting it. But the person who did it was... Sorry, I'm having to scroll a bit on the notes. Oh, who is it? Where did she go? Hope you guys enjoy my singing.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
You sounded auto-tuned without auto-tune.
Thanks. I think. Not thanks, It was Haley who actually had dealt the damage to Jane. But so we did the thing while you guys were having your meeting with the completely dark room. And Haley was the one that actually stabbed Jane and left her in the tub, which was very difficult to sort of let stay hidden after tasting Eva's blood, because Haley was the one that you made the deal with and actually tasted her blood, to try so that she could try to get some of Bruja powers. But Haley was the one that was behind it all. Speaking of that arc, Hannah.
I'm gonna go with the lady who was at the Grove who I ended up letting leave the grove. Um, I'm assuming, but my question is, did she infect everybody there? And then two, if I would have stopped her, would I have recognized her?
Yeah, she did. In fact, was the reasoning behind it. She had a very early dose of some chemicals that they were testing on, seeing if it worked on kindred. It was definitely 100% lethal to mortals, but they were trying to see if they could grab kindred in the net as well. And once it went off, there was no sort of way of contaminating it or containing it. So that's why she got out as quickly as possible to hopefully avoid it. If you would have caught her, you would have recognized her as one of the people you actually like drove by whenever they were having the big fight outside when you guys broke out Baron Joshua from the SI building. She was actually one of the people fighting in the streets. So you would have been able to recognize her as one of those individuals. But yes. But you also, if you would have stopped her, would have been able to find out that there was indeed an antidote as well. Which also would have been, super nice for Dimitri's sort of wrap up. I hope that answered your question, Hannah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely should have stopped her.
I mean, it would have been a good idea, definitely. But you probably would have had to break the masquerade a couple of times to do it.
Nah, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
For Eva, it's not.
Putting the masquerade back together, that's the hard part.
Exactly. Breaking it's easy. Rob, what do we got?
So I know that this applies to Dimitri. I think it applies to Eva, but for the two of you who are playing them, how early on in the Chronicle did you decide that you were going to wake up every evening and choose violence, and how was that to play?
I don't think it was the intent of Eva to be violent, especially at the beginning. Like, she was just keep your head down, make everybody happy. But little things here and there were pissing her off. And to kind of just, and, those bestial failures rolls definitely start, taught Eva the gruesome side of things, and she kind of liked it. So after a while, she just
I
was
know
like,
a
yeah,
little
this
bit
is
more of the
violent.
story, but Isaiah knew the two of you for, I want to say, 4 nights before narrative wrap up, and I think that his takeaway at the end of night 4 was, God, if the two of you live like this is exhausting.
It really was, though.
Tell me about it.
The phrase "damn bitch, you live like this" comes to mind.
Yeah, with Dimitri, I really decided that, he spent the majority of his unlife in a country that valued life not at all. Human trafficking was common, murder was common, it didn't matter. Life was cheap. And so for him, he embraced the monstrous side of him. It was the human side he struggled with. And it very rarely came out, like in the time when he kind of canceled Eva to not save Jane's life, because he's like, don't do this to her. She'll hate you for it. He's like, I'm a monster. I like what I am, but I don't think she would. So yeah, he thrived on it. I mean, I've said it time and time again. I live for this shit. Going into a situation where he didn't know if he was going to come out alive was kind of what he lived for. So yeah, he was going 110 every day and dragging everybody along with him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like with Eva, she had two choices, Carter or Dimitri. Like, and Carter's way to her was boring. Like, I'm not gonna go around reading books and figuring out
Right.
all this blood sorcery stuff. And Dimitri's like, yeah, we're gonna do this and this, and I'm like, okay, it's like sounds good. So it's like the prince was told Eva at the beginning, these are your mentors, basically. So I mean, I got mentored pretty well by Dimitri there, and I mean, now Eva and Dimitri are, well, they don't really know each other right now, but
I'm
they were
proud
best
of little
for a while.
hatchling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Woke up and chose violence on the daily. Um, Ian.
Oh man. It's a question for you, Bruce.
Mm.
When I joined the cast, we sat down and our conversation was very incredibly hand wavy. I'm gonna put all this out in front of everybody so you know. Because we didn't know how long I was gonna be a part of the story, because I was in a weird spot work-wise and all this stuff. So like the premonition that was had where Michael was kind of like fading in and out, like that was kind of setting up the fact that I could be leaving. Things worked out. I got to stay. Um how much of what the fuck happened to Michael was things that we had vaguely kind of hand waved away, and how much was it you just trying to stick it to me one time for the one time?
Um, as much as I would like to think that I'm that heartless, I don't actually think that about myself. I like to play that. I like to play that I am. But I don't really think that I am for the most part. A lot of it was a lot of hand wavy, especially at the beginning. But once I like realized, and then once we sort of had the conversation and knew that you were going to be um, permanently on the show, that's when I was actually able to start writing in some notes and like figuring out where you fit into the story and writing you into the story. So I will probably say it probably took, I think, about 15 sessions before I realized that you were going to be actually part of the story, because like everything sort of lined up perfectly for you to be part of the main cast. And I sort of realized, okay, this is probably a good time to start adding Michael into some plot threads here. To go ahead and get that ball rolling for the
Well, I mean,
exit.
it
you
sounds
had.
like it took us both the same amount of time then.
Yeah, just
'Cause
right about.
about episode 15 is where I really started to feel like I kind of hit a stride with Michael and really like understood who they were and were kind of able to live in their head kind of thing.
Yeah,
So that works out. I like that.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
But to answer your other question, yeah, no, 100%. Every time I could try to kill you, it was up to 15.
Oh yeah, no, I figured.
Yeah,
It's game time all the time.
all the time. Kill Michael time.
Oh, dude.
Or make you run away. One of the two.
Okay, that one hurt. Like I was so ready to show up. Carter and I were gonna do the thing. It was gonna be great. And then it's just like, oh nope. Haha. Like
it was great.
what an absolute punch to the ego for Michael.
It was amazing. Warren.
When did you sort of identify that Nessa was going to be the big bad, and was there an arc where she wasn't, right, where there was somebody else that was worse?
I will say probably the second arc, because I consider everything going into like whatever chapter 2 was, that's when I sort of realized how big of a part Nessa was going to play in it, because she has been around she's the oldest at that point, was the oldest member of the Primogen, and still without a crown ever. And she was getting tired of playing the long game, and Costell was playing it very loose and fast. So she sort of realized that was maybe going to be her chance into princedom. And really, I didn't think that anyone was going to be bigger or badder than her. Obviously, besides maybe the unpinning of the Bruja, that was supposed to be just left in the basement, but someone decided to wave a blood bag in front of them.
It was one time.
Yeah. And you woke up an antediluvian because of it. So I think that's the only.
Wouldn't have done anything for him anyway. He was just being butthurt to be mad.
You know how you look at a steak and it's not cooked the way you want it, but it still smells like a steak? It's the same sort of thing here. Dude,
I was thinking it's more like you have a hungry pit bull and you're walking along the fence and you're shaking a steak at him.
Yeah.
And then you run out of fence.
Sort of what happened. I think the antediluvian, depending on how you guys handled it very diplomatically. You also let Eva do a lot of the talking, which was another person of his clan. That was the only other person that I could have seen to be the big bad, because he would have tore through the tower if you guys would have given the tower a bad image. And then it would just been a completely Anarch campaign, and it would have been glorious, and we guys would have been here like 30 episodes earlier.
Why didn't we just do that?
You guys sure as hell tried.
No, Dimitri's out here like, nah, I gotta hit the prince with a car for style points.
In my defense, I was trying to kill the antediluvian.
Exactly.
Not a defense.
Nah.
Very much an offense.
What do you mean not a defense?
Dimitri's out here driving like, y'all like the Fast and the Furious franchise? Watch this.
My driving sucked, and I still rolled my max. I think I got 2 critics.
Yeah, I think you
2
literally
crits on that.
yeah,
So it was like
disgusting.
fucking 8 on 4 dice.
Yeah, it was
insane.
Dimitri over here, hold my blood bag. Very much
120 miles per hour, full smashy grab.
Yeah.
And that's just what it says on the dash. It probably you're probably fast.
Probably. But yeah, I think the antediluvian was the only time I was like, maybe Nessa's not as much as the big bad as I was expecting. Justin.
So kind of going back to the Eva story arc,
Mhm.
I'm curious, when we went to Eva's apartment and were investigating, we found the safe and it held vials of blood and thin blood alchemy supplies. What the fuck was with that?
That was the person that was Eva was a thin blood. They had to be some sort of kindred. To be worked into. You guys just questioned her and then straight up killed her. But she died so as a mortal would. Actually, you guys didn't kill her. No,
I don't think
the antediluvian.
Troil did.
Yeah, antediluvian did. But yeah, she was actually thin blood. So it was actually her alchemy.
Gotcha.
That she had to keep using to try to keep up the appearance.
That's a story thread I forgot about. I didn't there's no way that you could forget Eva letting Jane die. But that same night was the whole night with other Eva. I can't remember what we were calling her.
Beverly.
Beverly.
That's what it was. Thank you. I kind of completely forgot about Beverly. Because it was like, shut up, you're not important.
It wasn't.
Yeah, you're over there.
It was Nessa's head games, she was trying to fuck with Eva, and that was the wrong thread to pull.
Indeed, it was. She thought, she's the youngest kindred. It's probably the easiest thread to hold on to. But little did she know she would die years later in a parking garage.
Like a punk.
Yeah. Wow.
That is absolutely a kindred death I'm so upset that Michael couldn't be a part of. Like, I hope, because I haven't gotten all the way through the last. I got the spark notes of what happened again in the in the spirit of honesty. That's one of those ones that I hope to God that however Nessa went out, somebody went. Yeah, Michael would like that. Or maybe if you're doing if you're out there just like punching her a lot, you're like, yeah, that punch right there, that one's for Michael.
It was a bunch of bullets straight everywhere.
Then that bullet, one of them, pick one. That one was for Michael.
That's fair.
How many bullets was it? Like 5?
It was like
So
5.
one for each person.
Exactly.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
you
6
got to
ones for
remember
little
that
Michael.
at the time, I think the only kindred from the group that she was talking to was Isaiah.
Yeah.
Who didn't know Michael.
Yeah, exactly.
So if Eva didn't have that thought, then I don't know that anyone was around to, sadly.
It was a bunch of just other anarchs that were helping her.
It's the way it goes.
Hannah, what do you got?
My question is for Isaiah or Rob. I don't know. I feel like we're calling each other all different things. So.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, so the night that you had to like babysit Dimitri and I, how did you get that job, and how did you know about our past at all?
I didn't know who you were, so I didn't know that you were the people that had supposedly died, because I don't think that X necessarily knew at that point. And I was already investigating who the new prince was going to be. I was trying to figure that out ahead of time and didn't manage to put the pieces together before Elysium actually happened. But legitimately, the information that I had traded to get as much prep as I had for Elysium setup was that I thought that Kindred were responsible for the bombing of the Rant and Rave, and that wasn't the Second Inquisition. Which, when I said that to another Kindred, they were basically like, "Really? Why do you think that?" So that was a thing that had the potential to get complicated down the line until everything got complicated differently.
Complicated in a different sort of way.
One of those like, hey man, that's an inside thought kind of conversations.
Well, Isaiah did end up finding out, right? That, well, maybe not that we were responsible for that particular one.
So I guess it depends on how good he was at reading the room, and I was playing him as being atrocious at it because he brought it up in a conversation with Dimitri and with Eva, and Dimitri was basically like, "Yeah, Eva, how did that happen?" And he was sort of just standing there like, "I don't know, it could be anything."
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
So I think if he was less oblivious, that he would have put that together. But no, unfortunately, he was really not insightful.
And I think that was even before they were out as Dimitri and Eva, right? Weren't they still
Jane and Yuri?
Yuri?
Yeah, he found out about the names Dimitri and Eva at Elysium.
Yeah, very fast.
I don't know what you... There's a dress code, man.
The masks do not matter.
You say that about all masquerades, okay? Calm down, Eva.
It's all good. It's a bot, here we come.
You guys are on your way, okay? You guys are very much quickly on your way.
I'm good.
Why do you think I was making connections, man?
Yeah, I'm aware. I saw that line. I saw the stars aligning.
I was like, if we really got to push this shit.
All anybody had to do was tell Michael, "We're doing this now." Michael's like, "All right, gang, gang, we're in. Here we go." Hey, where's Sabat now? Do I have to get branded again?
I don't know. They seemed like they were kind of buying into the Camarilla lifestyle.
By necessity.
I don't know. They seemed really like digging it. They had little offspring and stuff.
So the conversation that I had with Bruce about it was the two influences that would have kept Michael out of the cam were dead, according to Michael. The brand existed. They kept the brand out of spite. Like, all right, you're gonna mark me? Fine. Like, here we go. Like this, you're gonna get what you paid for then. Haha. I don't know what that proves. But like from there, with it just being Carter being the don't rock the boat, keep your head kind of person that Michael knew him to be. Just like, well, I'm here. I'm not dead. Time to start carving out a new life, I guess. And the new life was finding a way to be as Cam as possible without having to be Cam. Does that make sense? So it's like, what am I going to do? Here's a bunch of brand new kindred who have no idea what's going on. How do I help them? By telling them that there's options and playing it very cool and helping them learn the shit that I don't know. It didn't work the way I wanted, but it was completely out of like, how do I not die right now?
I have one for the cast. Here we go. I hope you're ready. Going around the room, what was your favorite oh shit moment of the Chronicle?
For so many.
Yeah, because there's like ones for like as a player, and then there's ones as like the coterie, and I feel like there's a lot.
The one that got me the most shocked was the decision to detonate Claudius and Lucas.
That one was pretty wild.
That one I was even surprised by once until we had the the deafened conversation, and they're like, "This is what we're gonna do." I was like, "Oh, yeah, I agree."
How could you kill such an instant classic fan favorite of a character?
Fan favorites.
I'm inferring. I'm reading into this a little bit, but I mean,
look, Justin loved Claudius. Dimitri didn't give a shit.
That was rough.
I'm playing Claudius in our next game. You can't stop me.
Well, yeah, we have
one...
to stake him. I'm sorry.
The other moment, and I think we'll all be there on the same page, was the help's not coming. Because that was like, oh, holy shit, Eva is scary.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the first times that I was like, oh, this is how this Chronicle is going to go. And I was just surprised that it was like the most like evil line, and it came from Hannah. Like I was expecting like that level of line from like Dimitri, but like the fact that Evil like walked in and said that, I lost my mind.
Stuff.
Yeah, to me, that's where Eva switched from like, I'm a new kindred and I'm just kind of caught up in this whole mess to like, I'm a badass.
Yeah, she definitely felt like a badass at that point, especially after Dimitri blowing up everything. She's like, "Oh, this is how we get shit done." Okay, like let's get it done.
Blowing
then.
shit up, driving a car through a gas station.
Yeah.
The amount of money that
Russian
you
gangster
guys
shit.
cost the cam to fix and hide shit was wild.
Oh yeah,
You gave Carter a lot of gray hair.
I bet.
Hey, you gave me a lot of gray hair.
The princess pulling me aside, like, "Oh, you got to keep these two in line." How the hell am I supposed to do that?
Bloodsource, I don't know. Just do it.
I think one of my oh shit moments was when we went back to kind of investigate the rant and rave scene after the explosion, and SI was on scene investigating, and fucking first roll, Carter bestial fails and turns into like a feral
Yellow.
woodland child and starts stalking through the trees,
Right.
eating FBI agents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that.
I was like, oh, we're fucked. Like, somebody's gonna miss these people. They've got radios and shit. We're fucked.
By that point, our body, like, that was, I don't know what I expected this game to be, but once we blew up all the Anarchs, it was its own thing. So our body count was high from there
Definitely.
out.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
sort
once
of
all
true.
the Anarchs were dead, I was kind of just like, fuck it, let's see where we go. That's what
Like,
you just said.
well, exactly. I mean, because like my one-on-one game was like, oh shit, I accidentally killed a ghoul. Better dispose of the evidence. And I was just, all these like long ass, trying to figure it all out, just to cover the tracks. And then 2 episodes in, and we've just murdered 50 Anarchs. Oh, okay, this is different.
This is not what I was expecting.
So I liken why Dimitri behaved the way he did to basically PTSD. He came from Russia after his entire fucking clan had been eliminated.
Yep.
He literally got away with his sire and 3 of his brothers. And that was it. And so he was really serious when he first landed, but then he got friends. And he's like, I got friends again, and kind of reveled in this idea that, this is his new family. Because for him, that was loyalty and family. That was kind of his shtick. It didn't matter what clan you were from. He didn't give a shit. That was the least important thing to Dimitri. It was, whether you were loyal to him and he'd be loyal to you.
Yeah.
And we talk about like Eva being evil. The time that Carter made that guy eat his friend.
Oh, absolutely.
What in the world?
I mean,
Or
I don't think
suck
there's
the
a
blood out of
single-
that guy.
Yeah.
I
like
don't think there's
30
a
yards
single
away.
way- There's not a single way we can justify anything Carter did as
Oh no.
not monstrous.
No, Carter was very much like completely has no morals, no ethics, is just curious about blood magic.
We also talk about the fact, like, yeah. Oh, wait. Rob, what about you?
Dominating Eva to kill Dimitri. Oh, I guess asking's not working. I'm just gonna make it happen.
They tried at least to ask very kindly, but will you just do this for me, please?
Yeah, I'm not convinced we should have survived that.
I tried really hard not to let you. I'm gonna be honest. I tried really hard.
Yeah, you single-handedly saved Dimitri's ass. If you hadn't have made the decision, you could have literally sat in the corner, not gotten involved, just let shit shake out, and then quietly walk away. But you decided to put yourself out there, and got Dimitri where he needed to be, and he could create a distraction and get away.
Yeah.
If it hadn't been for that, I was fucking smoked.
I'm curious what that emotional roller coaster was like for Dimitri. Oh, he just saved me. Okay, now I've got a haven to stay in. That's full of a bunch of stuff about this Inquisition guy.
Yeah, at that juncture, he was just in like full fucking panic mode. And, you were literally the only person he was willing to talk to for more than 5 minutes because he was pretty certain that you weren't tainted by whatever the fuck was going on. So, he was like, okay, I'll trust you. And then, yeah, we show up and here's this fucking grand wizard with he's like, you got like, you're subscribed to his podcast and you've got a fucking leaflet on your table for him. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I will admit, out of character, that was a big oh crap moment for me. Because like Isaiah just wanted to be a good boy, so he went to church every Sunday. And then I found out of character that he went to church every Sunday with somebody who was trying to kill him and all of his friends.
Yeah, that was a surprise that I even pulled on Rob. I was like, hey, I just realized I made a horrible person out of your touchstone. Hope that's okay. He's like, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's
I love
awesome.
that.
I was a little sad, but I understand how we got there. I was like, I'm gonna have to go through playing through Isaiah killing his touchstone.
I took care of that for you.
At least you came to that realization yourself, and you didn't have Justin saying, "Avoid the situation. Just kill your touchstone."
Just do it.
Like, okay, so
Put a bullet in his head.
yeah, my oh shit moment was the moment I realized that Michael was dead.
Mm.
Right? Like that was the biggest one where it's like, no, I was feeling pretty confident. I got hurt, but you know what? We keep trucking. One bullet should have done it, but a second, fine, double tap. That whatever. That's how you do. That's how you work. And then Michael died, and I was like, oh fuck. But going into that, Bruce, you weren't in the call yet when we were going over how the hell Michael's gonna get out of this, and that was legitimately a suggestion from Justin. Just get up on the roof, put one bullet in your touchstone, and leave.
As long as you feel bad about it, nothing bad happens.
Yeah.
Just feel bad, man.
You might lose a point of humanity. I mean, it's okay. Live to fight another day.
It's like, and I was trying so hard to figure out how Michael could justify doing that, but there is no way. There's zero way that Michael would have just walked up on that roof and been like, "Hey, dude, sorry." Bop.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like I intended it
Different
that way or
strokes for
something.
different folks.
I think my favorite moment to watch as reactions was when you guys held the party at the Grove and Baron Joshua walked in on a leash. And just watching all of your reactions was just amazing to watch. That or Benny putting his foot in front of Baron Joshua to lick.
There's
It was rough.
That was
so
rough.
many times that I'm surprised, like while Benny was still around, I'm surprised we didn't just die because of some bullshit Benny did.
I mean, realistically, like that move is like the most Cam thing that someone can do. Like that was like, no, this is you are Cam. Like you just made an Anarch Baron lick your boot.
That's why he got over with the cam.
Yeah, that's why he got a nice cushy
Fair.
job with the cam, and while he had a childer.
We just had such a unique perspective as a coterie because we were a camp coterie stranded out in the middle of the Anarch territory. So we were all just like, I'll just do what we can to get along with everybody.
Yeah.
But
Since
do what we
picking
can to
fights,
get
you can't
along
win.
with. But do what we can to get along with everybody. You meant specifically make sure we kill as many barons as possible, right?
Or kidnap,
Well,
or kidnap them
before we
and
moved to
turn them
Terre
in,
Haute.
or kidnap them from the Pizza Hut or Pizza King and then turn them in shortly after.
In our defense, he was already fucked up when we got there.
That wasn't Carter's original plan at that point. I think I got talked into that one.
Into delivering Baron Anson.
Yes.
Well, we had to take him to the butcher to get him saved to begin with. And then it's like, what the fuck are we going to do? We can't keep him here. And Michael was compromised. You know, it was going to take Nessa asking one question, and then we're harboring a fucking Anarch Baron that the prince had tried to kill, at least according to video footage we had. So it was kind of like, we kind of have no choice. We got to turn him in.
And I actually think you guys weren't even talked into it. Michael made that phone call on their own.
Sell me out again, Bruce.
You're
Hell
welcome.
yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's great. They did.
They made that call for you guys, and you're like, oh, I guess we're doing this now, because you guys had to be talked into, like, can we actually go around Nessa, or is this something we just have to deal with now?
In Michael's defense, this was... It's going to sound like it's not very good defense here for a second, but hear me out. This was before the blood bond and when Michael was strictly just a contractor. So
you
hey,
sold
that
out
was-
before the blood bond. Understood.
I sold
That
out
was-
because I was actively working.
That's fair.
That Carter still doesn't get. Like sold out for cash.
In this
For
economy,
You have
You're
a
kidding.
place that you can live. I live in a truck. I wouldn't
Yeah,
expect somebody whose
by
blood isn't
choice.
fire, literally.
by choice of being dead and now having the fuel of a
the-
jet in your body.
Exactly. I'm sorry. Show of hands, which one of us in this room will spontaneously combust?
I just want to let you know
We set down roots.
that almost was the way you died. By the way, they were thinking about having you staked and letting you sit there until you combusted.
Ugh. Man, fuck Randy. All my homies hate Randy, alright? That guy sucks.
Hey, we never resolved that, Bruce. Were
Oh.
we able to get Randy too?
Um,
I know that was going to be a tough one.
it would have been a tough roll. It would have been, in theory, possible with your after you bumped up your connection and your resources. It would have been possible, but it was very, very tough. But once you went to fives, there's not a whole lot that you can't just throw money at and make disappear.
So Randy's dead too.
You're welcome.
Fuck yeah. Deserve.
Oh, his life sucked before he died.
Right, that's fair.
Good. Nah, he
I killed
deserved
everyone
it.
he talked to.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone.
Even the Starbucks
I
employee.
hit at a bus stop. I had a truck stop. Didn't matter. They all died.
Like, I was kind of hoping that Michael and Randy would get to have at least a little bit of a conversation before Michael died. And it was there. The option was there. Michael wasn't having it.
Yeah.
But there were so many things that just the hubris of unlife makes you think that mortals are completely incapable. That fucking guy.
Yeah.
Like, the best way I could explain it is Randy was to Michael as Tom was to Jerry.
Gotcha.
It's just like everything you're trying, I'm better than you. Stop. Like, you're not a threat. You're just annoying. And then he shows up and he's the one to put the fucking bullet in me. Like, that guy
Tough
sucks.
pill to swallow.
Ian, what question you got?
That's a tough one. So I know that, at least I hope it came across pretty quick that especially after Michael became compromised through the blood bond and stuff like that, that's really when Michael started to become like the ride or die that they were towards the end. This is actually a question for Rob regarding Isaiah. Should things have shook out a little different? How invested in this group was Isaiah? Like we're talking just after the rant and rave, or not, like just after Elysium, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, all right, nothing terrible's happened yet. We could all be like cross lines homies.
Yeah.
Like,
So
was that something that you were even interested in? Because Michael was open to opening the circle up and accepting somebody else in.
I tried to build him specifically to fit. So, yes, but the reason for it was he was meant to be a study in contradictions. So he was the stereotypical loner Nosferatu who had just reached a point where he was so friggin' lonely that the fact that Dimitri was like, "Hey, dude, come party with us," he was like, "I'm with him. I'm with him until I die."
I love that so much.
Oh no, you gave me a hug or an infection. I'm your problem now. Very much was Isaiah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I full on love that, and I'm so actually sad that Michael and Isaiah didn't get to know each other at all.
I mean, I think that he would have been a very weird fit for the group because he also was embraced for Potence to be like a sort of assassin whose goal was to have humanity 10 in a group that was basically like, we cap out at 5, otherwise decisions start to get awkward.
It's so true.
I mean,
X.
so hold on. Was I the only was I the only one above 5 before Isaiah came in to play? Humanity wise?
I think Eva was at
No, I
thought it was
6.
five.
I think Eva was at 6.
I mean, it was close
Carter
enough.
started at 6.
No, Carter was 5. There was a really bad stain roll early on, and then the Diablerie.
Yeah, I think he started at
Yeah.
7 to start, and then really bad sand
Oh,
roll.
Jesus.
And then Diablo, you're just like, yep, just by doing it, even if you're successful or not, just by doing it, you lose a stain, or you lose a point of humanity
you lose
all.
one. Yep.
Like there is no save for it. You just lose it.
Turns out consuming someone's immortal soul is not a good move.
Yeah, probably not.
Well,
It's worth a lot of XP though.
weird how the soul works that way, right?
Yeah.
Michael was humanity 7 all the way up until the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Impressive.
so without talking, I feel like I'm talking so much about Michael. I'm
No.
sorry, guys.
This is what this is for, is to talk and think about people's
Well,
behind the scenes.
I have a terrible time in this game playing Kindred Game of Thrones. My mind doesn't work that way. So with Michael, I just built a Kindred who was mostly pretty honest and kind of gullible.
Checks out.
Because I mean, like, not everybody can be a fucking queen on the chessboard, right?
Sometimes you just got to be the pawns.
Michael was like a knight, probably not a rook, not as cool as a rook, but threatening in some situations.
I like it. Very specific ones.
Mm-hmm.
Warren, what do you got?
So I guess this is for Bruce, but also sort of for the whole table.
Okay.
Was it weird that we didn't have anybody that was particularly facey and wanting to be the prince or baron?
I thought it was an interesting choice. But I honestly thought weirdly, I thought Dimitri would end up being Prince just because of Clan of Kings and because of connections and resources being really high, like that they would just be the default prince and it wasn't going to be like a charismatic prince, but like just go and get this done and I'll pay you well type of prince. So that's where I sort of expected the story to go, honestly. Where when I was first coming with it, it's like, you know, at the end of this chronicle, Dimitri's going to be prince, Eva's going to be enforcer / sheriff, and Carter is going to be either advisor or reading a book in Chicago. Is one of the three. Like this is how this chronicle is going to end. So it made it difficult for social combat, because if I would have actually used social combat, each one of you would have just been like aggravated willpower damage. You guys are never using your rerolls ever again. So I had to RP it more versus like the dice rolls, and I still try to do dice rolls on like really, really important situations, like trying to like when you guys were trying to make some way and become Prince of Terre Haute, like I still had dice rolls, right? Because that's game-changing events that were taking place, or conversations. But overall, I had to sort of ignore part of the rules because it would have been fair for you guys to get smacked with their charisma dice pool, and then you guys just like, oh, I have 2 dice to roll against this. I guess I'm taking 7 points of aggravated willpower damage, and I'm never the same ever again.
Ouch.
I mean, sort of.
See, and here I was thinking about characters I should play and looking at building a Nazi that's a face character, just for the irony of it. So that wouldn't have helped at all anyway.
If you do the alternate Bane, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I just don't like. I don't like the infestation. It's gross.
Yeah, that's how I feel
I
about
would so much-
Nosferatu too.
And Carter, what was your question again? I mean, Warren.
He just stepped away,
just said
but he
Greg,
just said, like, was it weird not having like a charismatic or face character in the group?
Yeah, that made shit tough, especially when it came time to lie.
Mhm.
Because we had lots of situations where if we could have had a face doing the talking for us, probably could have walked away from a lot more shit than we did.
Yeah.
But because we were all such terrible fucking liars, we couldn't talk our way out of problems,
That
and
was
usually
probably-
made them worse.
I was gonna say you would probably had the most manipulation,
Mm-hmm.
but it still wasn't like the greatest. I think I could like roll 3 or 4 dice.
Let's see here.
I mean, the only benefit that Dimitri would have had is the unswayable mind. So that was the only. When I found that, I was like, "Oh, thank God, something that can help me resist
Whatever the hell
these
Nessa just did to me.
mind-altering powers." Yep, not gonna have that happen again.
Dimitri felt very much Iron Man, and we're like, something bad happened to him, and he's like, nope,
Lesson learned.
this is not happening again.
100%.
It was just very much so. Yeah, it felt very Iron Man. It was like, nope, this is not. I'm not allowing this to happen ever again. But I feel like with you guys had a decent pool overall towards the end, because so many of you guys had all or daunt, where you guys could have activated those powers and gained extra dice. That I felt like at the end, you guys had like a decent face group overall, as long as your powers were active.
I did try to keep the average down by having a manipulation subterfuge of -2.
That's solid. That was solid. That really did work to really help that average out.
See, between you and I, we just factored out to 0. So
Yeah, see? Yin and yang.
Yep.
That was an area where you could tell we didn't sit down and build the coterie together, right?
No, but I sort of loved that, right? Like it forced, like you guys had to deal with problems in a different way. I mean, of course, you guys went at like to 10, sometimes, but it made you guys like, we know we can't talk through this. So like, how? I think there was even like the thing I think of is like the meeting of sires, where you guys were like, we can't talk our way out of this. Like, we just don't have a talker. Like, so how do we get out of this? Type of thing. Where you guys had to problem solve a little bit to try to get around the inability to have a conversation.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
So I have a question for the table.
Mm.
And this is a fun question. It's a hypothetical.
Okay.
All right. It's so we're looking at like alternate futures here. Everybody survived. Michael's still alive. Hi, how's it going? Instead of going to the box truck, Michael picks up like a bus. Right? Like a tour bus kind of thing. Where are we road tripping as a coterie? Because we're road tripping in that thing. You can't tell Michael no. Everybody get in, pick a city. Where are we going?
I want to say somewhere in Alaska during the 6 months of night.
All right. I'm here for that.
Never done that. Sounds like a fun time.
That sounds great. And then, we could also just like walk across the Barrett Strait right there and go see your home.
Oh yeah.
Quick little day trip, right? Russia's pretty small.
Yeah.
You can see it
Grab
from
a
Alaska.
puddle jumper. We're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Totally legal.
Or kindred.
Who cares about legal?
Carter.
Carter has
Johnny Buzzkill.
a detailed itinerary to take us to all of the best libraries in America.
You know what?
We're gonna leave him at the first library.
His plan exactly.
Weirdly,
works out.
weirdly, it's the one that's in Chicago to start the whole trip.
Where's Eva going? Where's she taking us?
I was going to say Canada.
Hell
I
yeah.
don't care where. Somewhere.
Love it.
I'm here for that.
Rob, where are you
Let's say it's
taking
on the
this
bus
group?
too. Where are we going?
Where's this road trip going?
I have no idea where Isaiah would want to travel. He was very much a homebody. I think not knowing the group's past, he'd have initially wanted to go up to the Northeast, somewhere around New York.
I heard they have a really big tunnel system.
Yep.
You know what? New York it is.
It's a great library.
Very nice library.
Because you know what? Just from what y'all told me right there, we're gonna hit Chicago. We're coming out of Indy, we're hitting Chicago, going over to New York, up to like Vancouver area, and then we're just gonna road trip across Canada itself to get to Alaska. And then we're gonna take Pacific Coast Highway all the way down and work our way across back east and end up in Miami.
Perfect. And the NYC's
What
got
up?
something for everybody. You could blow up multiple buildings with a single charge.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that for you. Justin, any other questions?
Yeah, a couple.
Mhm.
So, was Drake sincere with his offer to become a vampire?
Yes, that
Or was
was.
he playing a game?
No, that was his. He already saw death on the doorstep. He knew that he was dying. And from everything he knew from being a vampire, it is life forever. And he had ideals and revenge plans that he wanted to do. So he absolutely was being 100% honest on being wanting to become a vampire.
And how did he get his body back?
Interesting fact, he didn't. He thanks to a ritual that Carter was able to find someone to complete, the soul of Drake inhabited that body, and that's ritual allows the ghost to have permanent residency in that body and function as a individual. But he just had to find a kindred body. So
Gotcha.
he came back as being a kindred, just thanks to the wonderful, terrifying powers that be for the void, as it were.
And another quick one, if you
Mhm.
guys are okay with that. Who was in Caleb's face that we fought? And
Good question.
how did they know that we were involved with the death of B. Underwood, Lucas, and Claudius, given the fact that we were oh so careful to never expose ourselves to anyone, to not be seen on camera? We always use the other two as kind of our gophers. So I'm curious. I know those weren't the real thems because they didn't do shit in that fight. They were just kind of, I think, there to kind of scare us, make us feel uncomfortable.
So those were the real thems. That was Claudius and Lucas and B. Underwood. Claudia or Lucas
Underwood even.
Yeah. Lucas knew who you guys were. And once things blew up and you guys were no longer to be found, Lucas made the assumption that you guys were still at large, and this was a murder attempt on Underwood because you guys disappeared shortly after. And so Underwood made a call to Indy and say, "Hey, are you missing a couple of kindred who should be dead?" But that person who was standing behind was Nessa, who was changed to look like them, to look like Caleb. Caleb was still at home, heavily staked, and Nessa, being the only person who could awake Caleb, took it as her opportunity to try to once again try to show her power and say, like, no, look, I'm the real princess, should have won Elysium. Which I tried to subtly point out, like, the fact that, like, stuff shouldn't have been back to normal with Jordan still working in the prince's office with Michael passing by. It was very subtle, and Justin actually reached out to me shortly after. He's like, wait, does blood bonding work as written in this world, or what? Because, like, usually blood bonding, all three have to be taken from the vein to actually get blood bonded. But there is a blood ritual that Nessa knows that allows the potency of the blood to stay in effect, even in a punch bowl or something like that, perhaps. And so there was a small little thing that's, like, again, either the whole coterie at this point, since Michael was very open on how their blood bonding happened, where I was sort of really, like, just putting it in that hopefully, like, something would have been picked up, where Nessa was behind the mass blood bonding, but it only works for a little bit on a large group. So it wouldn't have held forever for everyone to be under control of her, but
So that means Claudius is alive, so Michael can be happy.
exactly. Claudius indeed is alive through some wonderful oblivion powers of not their own.
How can you kill what's already dead?
I don't know, it's Michael.
Damn, too soon.
Sorry.
I lost 2 characters.
Well,
in
one
this-
and a half.
Only one, technically.
Yeah,
I'm taking the half because you killed Claudius's boy too.
yeah, that's fair.
Charles.
Charles.
You know what? You know what? No, screw you guys. I'm taking 2 because Low Michael died also.
That wasn't their fault, though.
Accurate. I got a question. Who did they execute that was wearing Bart's face? And was it supposed to be Bart until I was just sure that Bart was still alive?
No, it was not Bart. Once, let's back it up. Michael wasn't the only person who was blood bonded by Nessa. Bart also was, so he had to do a lot of things that Nessa told him to do. And once the information got out, while under her control, or the person that she told to go, like, make sure, because she told Bart to go and look and make sure that and verify that Dimitri and Eva were dead. She needed Bart too much to be lost through an execution like this, and so told Bart to go ahead and make someone to look like Bart. And Nessa, being the power she was, asked them very politely if they would go and lay on that and pretend to be Bart.
Nice.
So you were definitely correct where you said Bart was too smart to be able to do that, but it was less about... I mean, Bart would have probably just left, but Nessa was trying to play more chess, so her pieces were still on the board.
That totally makes sense.
Any other questions?
Yeah, the answer to this might be obvious, but it sure wasn't obvious to me.
Mhm.
How was Ashley's dad at the gas station and didn't die?
That, my friend, is a very good question. Um, very long time ago, at the first gas station, Eva had just warned someone that help wasn't coming. Carter was the only person doing like outside security at that point. And got the phone, deleted the evidence, and told that person to, no, you killed that person, I'm pretty sure, and put him in a
Shot
trunk. Yeah. And Dimitri was still inside, gathering and trying to put stuff inside of cars to make sure people disappeared properly, as well as making sure the vehicle, the SI vehicle that was there, was removed, like tracking and stuff like that. So there was a lot of things that was going on, where a lot of people were sort of preoccupied at the moment. And her dad is a very seasoned hunter, and sort of realized that there are 3 people who just took out, like, very methodically, an entire gas station worth of people, and survived a gunfight relatively unfazed. And probably decided it probably wasn't a good idea to go 1v3 against whatever these things were. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's very much like he was on the outside of the situation and not directly involved, but it was a sort of a pass by.
Yeah, I think the hunter was the big revelation that for me, since in my head I was like, yeah, he was just wandering by, sipping a Coke. Carter was looking the other way.
So did he recognize Carter?
He did recognize Carter. He just, he knew from dinner how long you had been seeing Ashley, and didn't know if this was like your territory to fight, for him to fight on or not. Where he very much is like, from at least what I've seen of the sheet, very much methodical in it, and he's not going to take a fight with a vampire on their turf. So was definitely trying to, like, that's why he was like, good, keep tabs. And especially now that Ashley is with you, he has a tab forever.
Does he know that Ashley's a kindred?
No idea, because she's the thin blood, so she's not showing any sort of signs of being a kindred.
You should have just haha. Your daughter's a thin blood.
Yeah, because that would go well for Ashley.
She
I was
said
going to
she
say
wanted-
that's it's bound to be a tough conversation someday, but that might be for a different time, right?
It's not a Carter issue right now.
No, I feel like honestly, I feel like Carter, Ashley, and Bart chilling in Chicago are probably like relatively calm.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, you're going to do whatever Ashley tells you to do because you're blood bonded to her. And Bart is just a good friend, so he's like, yeah, what'd you say, Carter? So really, like, Ashley is just like playing with multiple chess pieces where she only has to control one of them.
Oh, so y'all just made new Nessa. Okay.
I was going to say, how far do we have to fast forward before Ashley is Nessa?
I mean, it's pretty. It would take a very long time to fast forward that, but if Carter got their way and started to allow it, like getting Ashley to start Diablerizing people, it's not unthinkable.
Yeah, that honestly, that relationship goes one of 2 ways. Like Carter drags Ashley down into monsterdom and basically creates the thing that kills him because he's blood bonded to her. Because at least as far as I know, he only has 1 level of blood bond,
Yep.
and it was his idea, not hers. because Carter was so torn up over losing Dimitri and Eva that he just like needed to feel something, and so like fucking sign me up. It worked for Michael, and so but so she wasn't trying to manipulate Carter.
Right.
Whether that has changed, I don't know. Or I
It
think
worked for Michael
he
is an
redeems it.
interesting take.
Yeah, that's a hot take.
I definitely wanna know more about that line of thinking.
He was. I mean, he was making bad decisions in a very dark place.
Valid.
Valid for
You
both
win this
parties.
time, Gadget.
Exactly.
So who was behind the attack on the hunter? Or when he showed up like a bruised turd,
Yeah,
he
that
got
was gonna
jumped
be
by
the
some
next
guys. Was
question.
that story relevant or was that just something random?
No, that was. I mean, it was relevant to overall plot. Where he came back after, going and picking up some stuff, and he actually bumped into Beverly, and was threatened to like, hey, you need to deal with this, or otherwise, Eva's gonna have some real problems. And so was beat up and dealt with that way. And then, you know what happened? Wonderful power of forgetting. And so he just like, yeah, last thing I remember is being beat up by a bunch of hunters. Because changing minds is a wonderful power.
Super useful.
Mm-hmm.
Got another question.
Yeah.
If everybody's okay with it. The SI raid on Elysium, was that part of Nessa's plan or was that just something bad fucking timing?
It was bad timing. It was obviously you guys got got a lot of paperwork. Or Matthew got a lot of SI paperwork on havens and stuff like that, but didn't get all of it. So SI, once they were looking at different havens, saw this invitation to Elysium, and SI took it and ran with it, and sort of just showed up knocking on their door. So it was not Nessa's plans, but took the most of it and tried to like be the hero, and be as maybe like try to hurry up and like win you guys back as the good guys. Her scene to try to cover up.
Stake Caleb.
It's a lot of
dude man was staked to a chair. She could have killed him and nobody would have thought it was her. And then she would have been the next in line for Princeton.
Nessa is also the kind of like the cat and mouse game, but she really likes playing with the mice.
Gotcha.
Where she wants to do it, but she doesn't want to just like be given it, right? She really wants to be like, to be able to show you how I beat you in this big game of chess that we're all playing.
She has to monologue to somebody about how she
exactly. Yeah, she's the Bond villain that really
is playing horseshoes and hand grenades.
Exactly. So no, SI was not her calling, but she was just trying to make the most of a very bad situation.
I have a quick question, if nobody minds.
Go ahead.
So, Eva, do Eva and Carter still talk? Because when Carter last left you, he was certain you were going to your death. And I feel like as soon as he realized, holy shit, she's pulled it off, he would have had second thoughts about leaving.
Fairweather friend.
I think Eva would definitely keep in touch, especially because she knew or assumed very much that you were blood bonded. So, Yeah, I probably would have checked in like once a month, like, hey, you still alive? You still good over there? Especially because I knew that I saw her dad at the gas station. But I actually
Totally.
never got to
Yeah.
tell you that.
I'm sure at some point maybe it comes up.
Never. Just gone.
Yeah, if we meet face to face, not over phone.
Look how much Eva's learned. I guess at this point, if
She's
anyone
grown up.
has any questions, we could just popcorn it.
I have one more.
Yeah.
Why did Bart lie when he said that our bodies were there?
A lot of problems for Bart go away if you guys aren't there. And again, you guys didn't like Bart, but Bart really liked you guys. And so he sort of lied and just hoped that you guys would go away, like fake your death and never come back to Indy ever again.
The sane choice?
Right. And then just hope.
Like, bro didn't even know us.
Right. He's just trying to really hope that his problems go away because of like what Nessa was like overall like wanting him to do. Where you guys becoming the rowdiness that you guys were. If you guys are gone in the wind and just dead, or at least the Cam thinks so, he doesn't have to go hunting for you guys, which he doesn't really want to do because he did see you guys as not enemies, and didn't really want to have to hunt you guys down in that capacity. Also, he didn't believe that he could hunt either one of you down, but especially the pair of you. We're not going to, like, he was not going to win that fight. And so he realistically did it for his own sort of safety. He was like, yeah, I don't have to deal with this problem anymore. They're just gone.
So the stolen artifacts, we know that Carter retrieved the book, but who stole it to begin with, and what happened to the cross and the pyramid? Were they ever recovered?
Originally, a bunch of anarchs went through and stole them, all under X's guidance, as under his underneath his rule. X still had the crucifix until he dropped it on, or until, no, X still has it. Yeah, sorry, I forgot it. That was the
X is dead though.
Yeah. Well, X had it on their body, and the pyramid was sold. He sold it off to some buyer that wanted it, and they're like, "Hey, I need some money to fund some things going on to try to make sure stuff is happening." So as far as the pyramid wasn't ever covered. It's now in someone's private collection. The cross X had, and after it was dispatched, wasn't really like, oh, this is probably something special. So is in the remains of X, and then the book is sitting, I'm assuming, back at the pyramid in Chicago.
Yeah, the official copy is in the pyramid in Chicago, and my copy is on every computer I own.
Exactly. It's only slightly a break in the masquerade if that hard drive ever gets to the light of day.
And I guess probably my last question would be, during in our kind of typed chat, play by post kind of thing that we were doing when we headed out to Boston, the last thing Dimitri did before hitting the road was opening up the U-Haul at the bottom of that river and releasing all those bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Did that have anything to do with the return of SI?
It did. Weirdly enough, a bunch of bodies popping up that were labeled as missing or have gone to like vacation and then randomly reappearing a year and a half later, definitely raised a lot of suspicions for SI to come back to Terre Haute. And they, guess what? They have a very big headquarters in Indianapolis where they could put their foot down in. That U-Haul of dead bodies.
Sometimes it got to be that way.
It did.
Speaking of someone who's played somebody who's lived in a U-Haul, sometimes you got to use it for more than living purposes.
Mm-hmm.
When you live out of your truck, the phrase "don't shit where you eat" doesn't really apply.
That's fair. We'll go ahead and go around the room and ask one final question from everyone if you guys have one. If you don't have one, no big deal. You can just say pass, but and we can come back around if no one else has any.
I feel like all of my questions that I have are really like superficial.
That's fine. We don't need all the deep methodical questions.
I got a good one.
Yeah.
Then go for it.
What is one secret that you had planned that we never discovered that you wish we had?
Ooh, that's a tasty one.
Oh.
Or it could be more than one if there's more than one.
Let's see. That is such a good question. I think the thing that really wish we would dug into more as a group was why y'all hate chicken wings so badly. No.
Nice. The prequel
So
story to
one
Carter getting
callback.
thrown out of a car.
Exactly. That was my next one. Was actually sort of it originally started in Dimitri's Session Zero, but Miles and his group of Thin Bloods that was trying to make a name for themselves and take back some of their area that they lost inside of Indianapolis was a sort of a thread that dangled for a minute. It got brought back up very short-lived when Dimitri, I think, saw Miles or got a call from Miles randomly.
No, it was Ashley told me that he was still alive.
That's right. Where that thread could have opened up a lot of interesting and more thin blood oriented portion of the game instead of them just being taken and out of Terre Haute and given for favors. But that's really the biggest one, or the reason why Nessa was wanting all the barons that you guys were giving to her.
Just assume she was playing Pokemon.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
No, it was for science.
Did anybody have a cool storyline for their character or idea for their character when they were starting that they felt like they never really got to explore?
Actually, yes. If anybody else wants to jump in on that before I go, then feel free to.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Part of Michael's existence before the coterie, as we know, was mercenary work, info broking, general ne'er-do-welling, that kind of stuff. And let me make sure that I'm saying it right. Michael had infamy, or whatever it is, the negative quality,
right,
that we never really dug into at all, and also had a stalker that we never dug into. I think those kind of play hand in hand with the concept of, sometimes you got to do some shit to make ends meet, and sometimes you end up becoming a flash in the pan designer drug dealer where your drug is just lightly ghouling people.
Just lightly.
That's why. Free my boy.
R.I.P. Anyone else? Interesting story thread that you guys started the game with and never.
When we were doing the play-by-post stuff early on, Dimitri was born in America. He was a veteran. He served in Vietnam and was actually taken as a POW. And part of that was that he was going to bounce back and forth between an American and Russian accent. Kind of when he was doing criminal activities, he was going to use the American accent, and then you guys would just know him as the Russian. But I kind of quickly abandoned that because I was like, that could get very confusing for the audience. Like, is this guy just forgetting to do his accent? What's going on here? So that was something that was going to be a thing. It was a thing in the play-by-post because, that way he could talk to people, face to face, and then call them later on the phone and sound like a completely different person and fuck with them. And so, but
I forgot all about
it was
that.
going to be untenable to do on an actual play.
Yeah.
He obviously just had a close encounter with the flamethrower in Vietnam, which is why barbecue Dimitri did not have a Russian accent.
Exactly.
Flashbacks.
Exactly.
But I rationalized it by basically he lived most of his life in Russia.
Yeah.
So he's more technically Russian than American, but he was actually a native American.
What about Carter or Eva? Any sort of threads or anything that you guys are realize now that you never really touched on?
I definitely had some ranks and some skills that would have loved to have come up, but in retrospect, it's like, why did I put so much in this?
I tried so
like
hard.
Geology and Latin. I had a fair number of skills that just never saw the light of day.
I tried so hard to make both of those come up, and I think Latin came up once, like the ability, like the fact you could speak Latin. But it was
the papers that that Matthew got were in Latin.
Yeah. I tried so hard.
I feel like you built a Call of Cthulhu character.
Library use 100 out
lots
of 100.
Of occult, lots of geology and Latin.
He was his original concept. Like, I assumed we were gonna have somebody who wanted to be the prince, and I was like, cool. Like, I can know the politics and I can know the stuff and I can advise the prince character. And then we just didn't really have anybody.
The prince character never
You
saw.
don't survive in Call of Cthulhu by reading books. That's the surefire way to get yourself killed.
Yeah.
They're always professors or teachers at a college.
True.
This book seems really spooky.
Read it.
Too bad I can't read.
What about you, Eva?
No, Eva was built to just kind of ride it out and see where it went. So, she was a newbie. She didn't even know anything about the Cameron arc.
Yeah, that's fair.
Until we met, basically. So, she had no idea what she was getting herself into. Now, she needs Carter for all the advice.
Yeah. I advise
It's on the other side.
Exactly. Any other questions?
Yeah. I'm assuming Caleb was in his right mind when he named his Primogen.
He was.
That at that point in time, he was not under the influence of Nessa. What in God's fucking name motivated him to choose Jordan, a fucking neonate, to be the Seneschal?
Ooh. Also, I got some beef with Jordan. Ooh.
He did it out of
real careful
respect for Costell, because he owed Costell a very big boon. And so he did it out of respect for Costell to promote her to Seneschal so he could take her under his wing, even though he wasn't Gangrel. She didn't have a sire anymore. So he took it underneath his wing to like try to raise up Jordan and trying to make her into Primogen material. And also, Clan Gangrel is like one of the bigger clans in Indiana, so it had like a very big population size that she would like. She needed he needed a Gangrel, and there was very few that would have fit, and it made the most sense for it to be Jordan.
But Seneschal?
I mean, who else is going to be Seneschal? Nessa? That didn't work out well for the last prince.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying it's a very kind of, when you look at bonehead moves that Costell made, it's some shit Costell would do. It's like, dude, you're shitting on all these people who have been dedicated to you and worked with you and have so much more experience.
Yeah.
And you're going to promote this neonate to become prince in your stead. What the fuck?
I mean, it was also a slap to the face to Nessa, like that he was running against. Like, no, you're Harpy, you're not going to be Seneschal. So it was sort of like one of those political things. It was like, you're going to run against me? No. I'll put you on my cabinet, but you're barely here.
How the fuck did he even win?
Well, when you guys broke the masquerade, there was sort of this prince from France that was pulling a lot of Nessa's weight and said, this city is too hot now. I'm leaving and going back to France. Have a good day. And so Nessa just didn't have the extra gunpowder to keep going compared to Caleb, who did have the extra oomph from his time being in Boston.
And it's the same guy who made all of the new kindred, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, and he's made them swear to the cam, but that's all he made him swear to. He wasn't making him swear to Nessa, but it was just like, hey, also, you like me and whoever I support, but now that like he wanted nothing to do with Indianapolis after it got so hot that there was a masquerade breach. So he's like, I'm not putting my name on this at all. Good day. And Nessa was like, oh, there goes my chip to winning Princedom. So you guys breaking the masquerade absolutely changed who Prince was going to be. Because she just didn't have any more gas to be able to run. Otherwise she would have.
Well, now I'm glad we broke it.
Damn straight.
I'm not.
There's a pretty cool pay raise involved if Nessa won for Michael.
That's sort of true. Michael would have been a Harpy.
Mm-hmm.
Any more? What you got? What you got, Ian?
I was trying to think of it because I've been kicking around this question the whole time, but I can't find good wording for it, so it's not even worth it.
Just blow it out there. We'll help you form it into a coherent question.
No, this one's for this one's actually regarding Dimitri from Michael's like last moments, right? And before that, why the fuck would you change your phone all the goddamn time? So when I'm trying to call you to let you know that I'm about to fucking die, your phone ain't working. So I have to leave a voicemail somewhere in the nether. And then you're just like this. My voice is just out there in the ether, just like, hey man, thinking about you. Right. So now there's just this completely untied bullshit. Fuck you. That's my question.
Well, actually,
Heartbreak.
so Dimitri did have an answering service,
Yep.
so he was able to get that message.
Okay.
It was just too late.
Yeah. And
That is why he went on the campaign that he did and killed the guy who killed you. The church that blew up, that was Dimitri. I enthralled all of the like highest people in his church, and then I wired them with explosives, and the Sunday he was preaching, I had them blow themselves up.
Hell yeah.
So
Very,
I was-
very a la Charles.
and that's definitely. I was like, hey, that worked before. I'll try that again.
but with more.
What is
Well, and then,
Dimitri's humanity score now?
Well,
it's probably like a 2.
right. I mean, and also Dimitri didn't blow up the building. Someone else blew it up for Dimitri. So
They
it's
just,
not
yeah,
on-
they just did it because I told them to.
yeah, exactly.
I didn't have to listen.
Well, you since you haven't listened to the episode, Dimitri also started some rehab clinics in Michael's name.
Yes.
He started like youth activity centers in Michael's name. He bought the building where Michael died and has a mural of Michael on the wall that has a fund that will fund it for the next 100 years to have it continually updated.
Yes.
Every year on the anniversary of your death, a Pizza King pizza and $1,000 bottle of Macallan is delivered to the roof.
Yes. So that brings me to my follow-up question, because I know unfortunately you will not be joining us for Gen Con this year. Is anybody else down for Taco Bell
Stop.
and whiskey?
Stop. Stop.
Do it.
You want to get a bottle of Blue Label and
Oh.
have some Taco Bell, baby.
I hate all of
Gotta
that.
do it.
I don't.
What better way to send it out than with the most
Under
like
no circumstances.
no, we were having that moment. That moment was like one of those moments that everything just felt right in the story. Does that make sense? Where like
That is
there was
not
some
how I remember that moment.
no, there was some shit going on, but you know what? This right now, this is okay.
Yeah.
We'll
Take
worry
a break
about
from everything. Have some
yeah.
Taco Bell.
We'll worry about who's trying to kill us tomorrow night. Right now, we're about to ingest all this stuff that's gonna make us want to die again in a couple of hours, and it's gonna be great.
I'll bring some whiskey if you show up with Taco Bell. That's on you.
You know what? I'm in. I'm in.
Gross.
And y'all have to deal with the fallout of that. I don't drink much, so
It's all right,
Take
Pete.
it slow. One shot.
Exactly.
So we're turning Ian into a goblin
Yeah,
to recreate this scene.
exactly.
turning into.
Yeah.
I've been for a very
They
long
have the most goblin energy.
I can't imagine it's better when they're drunk, though.
That's fair. Any other questions before we wrap it up for this evening?
I'm making sure I'm not misinterpreting the situation, but
Okay.
verify for me that Hunter was the one who tried to kill Eva.
Hunter was indeed. I guess I'll leave it up to Hannah. Hannah, would you like to know what the letter said?
Yeah. Let's do it.
So the first one was actually a warning. That one that you sort of disregarded, that was in the steering wheel, you disregarded it, was a warning saying that your car was booby trapped. And the second one that he held onto was he absolutely every bit of him loved you, and then you went and died. And he was angry. And then he found out that you were alive. And once he found out you were alive, he realized that if I can't have her, no one can. And so that's when he became on his hunter, all puns intended, streak. And his whole goal after you returned was to find you and perform the final death. But it was a very, very angry and very love-filled letter.
Hell hath no fury like a hunter scorned.
Yeah. Sort of. That's what happens. I mean, he was bloodbound to Eva for a year and a half, 2 years.
Probably longer, yeah.
And that's like, you know how you can miss a month and it goes down a little bit, but you're still bonded. No, Eva kept that up at max every single month.
Hey, Eva kind of sucks though, dog. Like,
That's the Baron you're talking about.
You watch it.
I'm dead.
You watch your tongue.
No, okay, so that probably is another oh shit moment is after we broke the masquerade and we had to run. I did ask in the our text if I could find Hunter. And it was like, no, like there's no way unless, go back to the bookstore. And that
Right.
wasn't gonna happen.
It was a lot of
I was
risking
like,
yourself and like this whole lie and faking your death thing you guys just pulled off. Like you could, but a lot of people are going to know.
so that was kind of a sad moment for Eva, and little did she know coming back would make it that he would try to kill her. So
He would go full hunter.
actually live out his name.
Exactly. It's his namesake, really.
I think I have one last question.
Yes, please.
Why did Nessa want me to kill Dimitri? Like, what was her end goal in that?
Dimitri just not being in the picture. She knew that because she was on the Primogen from Costel that you guys blew up the rant and rave. She knew, thanks to some information that was handed to them from Underwood, that Dimitri attempted to blow someone up in Boston. And now that Dimitri is back, she knows that you guys didn't really leave off on a good foot. So the fact that Dimitri is walking around means that at some point her car is just going to explode. So get rid of this problem before it kills me, sort of thing. It was more of just her wanting to survive. And you are a skilled combatant that she thinks probably could take Dimitri on in a 1v1 that's most people couldn't.
Yeah, I guess my thought is like she could have used so many other people to kill us both. But
Yeah,
chose to go the other way. Like, chose to bring us to her and only kill one of us.
it was, again, she liked to play cat and mouse, and she sort of liked the power that she could have over you without you realizing it. Like, hey, you kill Dimitri, and I'll give you this person that looks like the person you want to kill. Really, really bad. And so if she could have you do the dirty work that she wanted done, that's another win in her book, that she outsmarted one of the strongest kindred in Indy once more. But and if you're curious, the person that was pretending to be Nessa was Caleb. That was tied up and staked
Makes sense.
was Caleb.
Yeah. That makes more sense.
So
who was I?
that's a good question.
Also, Caleb.
Very hungry.
Damn. I did not see that one coming.
Right.
I do now have one last question. I'm
Hit me with
sorry.
it.
This will be very quick. Do you think I'm pretty?
I think you had the stat for it, so I think so.
Hell yeah. All right. Good night, everyone.
Rob, did you have any last questions?
Nope. I'm good. Thank you.
You got it. Everyone out in chat lane, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. As for the first time in 70 episodes, we got to be us on stream. So thank you guys for the wonderful story that we were able to put together. Thank you to my cast for 69 wonderful episodes of
You don't get to ridicule me at the beginning of the show.
I absolutely get to do.
Come back around and say it when you feel like it. No,
because I didn't miss it. You did.
dead. Oh,
And
you killed me.
yeah, you right. So thank you guys seriously as my players for this wonderful arc of storytelling that we got to do. And everyone out in Chatland, Indy by Night is not going away. We will be live again next week with a Hunter one shot as we sort of try to get used to the rules a little bit. As the next season of Indy by Night is actually going to be playing Hunter the Reckoning. So we actually get to play the other side of the things that, hunt those horrible things that go bump in the night. It is going to be held within Indianapolis again. And yes, the decisions at the end of the Indy by Night Vampire Chronicle will indeed impact on the things that go bump in the night in the hunter world. I hope for the love of God these group of hunters do not run into a very angry Eva at any point in the Chronicle at all.
Spoilers, I'm building a hunter whose goal is to just kiss every vampire they meet, so...
They'll probably take that bet. But as sort of a schedule, we do have next week, we'll have the Hunter one-shot. On 6/11, we will be missing that week, as we will be going ahead and taking some time off, as we have some cast members who are taking vacation, I guess. And then 6/18, we will have episode 1 of Indy by Night Hunter version. So make sure you guys are around for it. Thank you guys again for staying a little past our time, but we'll see you guys next week on a new version of Indy by Night. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
I'm playing a
Bye.
human this time.
We hope.